Gillian, are you drinking coffee from a cereal bowl?
No, I just own really large mugs because of important life.
Hello, everyone out in internet land. Welcome once again to Final Fantasy Crystal Legend, an original Pathfinder adventure inspired by the lore of the Final Fantasy franchise. I got it right this time, team. I said it correctly. It's great. My name is Neil at theLimitBreak, and I am once again joined by my very, very close friends. In the top right-hand corner of your screen, Mihgo, servant to Alexander, god of valor. In the bottom left-hand corner, direct from the Chaos Continent and the city of Burmecia, Dark Knight Gillian. And in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, part-time red mage, full-time swashbuckling sky pirate, Captain Montigue. If you were with us on our previous adventure, you will know what happened. But if you are joining us for the first time, last time we were here together, the team infiltrated the Ronka Ruins, a ruinous sort of elephant graveyard for whale-like creatures from centuries gone by that was home to a number of undead monsters, a few demons, a few devils, what have you. And at the heart of it, a necromancer in the form of a small hooded beastman known to Gillian's people in her early years as a creature beyond the Tonberry Fields. Do not go beyond the Tonberry Fields. Those creatures are dangerous. Finding this information out, they came back to the science facility at City Hall in their home city of Bastok and informed Mid-Orum, the head of the science department, of their discovery, and he is sending out information and charters to the ancient library at Daguerro and potentially Guado Salam to try to find out more about these creatures from the Tonberry Fields. In the meantime, our team had spent the evening in the Steaming Sheep Inn discussing that potentially while they are waiting for this information, it might be a good time to fill more requests from the Wild Rose department. And so here we are on the next morning. Welcome to episode 9, a new set of Leves. As usual, in the mornings, we start with Mihgo, our earliest riser, who most likely, I imagine, is making her way to the Temple of Alexander, I imagine, yeah?
First thing, bright and morning, when the sun cracks, this cat rises with a nice stretch, puts on her vestments, and then heads right to the temple, of course, to greet everyone and assists with the duties of setting up the temple and helping anyone who ended up there overnight. And then, of course, I spend my morning praying deeply, entering that state, speaking with my messenger to Alexander, and then after, I don't think that this day I have anything particularly special to say.
Okay.
I will go over that we went to the Ronka Ruins, a place filled with undead and horribleness, but with the power and blessings of Alexander, we were able to remove undead and just a scourge, the scourge of Alexander from this realm. And I'm super happy and super grateful to Alexander that I was able to help bring such greatness. So after that, it's back to helping around temple until the rest of the team wakes up.
All right. Gillian, you are probably now being woken up first thing in the morning by a paw to the face from your brand new gimme cat pet who has adopted you. Just a small little Felis Domesticus style gimme cat. And his name is Jun Xiao, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
All right. And I'm sure that is probably how your morning has started now with this little creature batting you in the face.
He gets 3 of those in before I finally admit that I am awake. He gets a small ration. I'm just going to like open a ration, pop half of it down where he can eat it,
Sure.
and then leave to get my own rations of coffee and whatnot.
Captain Montague, is there anything exciting going on in the Selkie world this morning?
There is hangover, and it's always better to memorize your spells when you're hungover.
I was not aware of that. That's interesting information to have.
That viable?
You're more likely to remember a myth that's hurting when you put in a mold.
The 3 of you all make your way down to Phoenix Down Street and head into 8 Phoenix Down Street. We have now, as well, when you get in, the return of Day Day. She had spent a few days on patrol outside of the town, just outside of town, dressed in her very impressive-looking weapon and armor and shield, patrolling the area for any undead or imps, after you had made mention that your imps were in the neighborhood. And now that she's completed that duty, she's back for the next few weeks until she goes off for her regular duty. You're greeted by Junie and Kumaru as you enter the establishment. And on the usual board, and you can speak with people first, but on the usual board, in addition to the 1 missive that was up there previously, there are 2 more missives posted on your section.
Awesome. Well, of course, I'm going to want to go see Day Day first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
This is the, of course, we have Junie and our resident Mughals, Kumaru.
Mm-hmm.
But, of course, I'm going to want to jump over to Day Day. And Day Day, how is your patrol? Did you bring light to the land? Did you have fun? Are you okay? Do you need any healing? I'm fawning a little bit.
Yeah, she smiles at you. She says, Key, I am very happy to report that it was a very uneventful week on patrol. And you know what? I really, really enjoy it when it is an uneventful week on patrol for this town. Anytime we can keep the citizens of this place as protected as possible, if we can keep it as quiet around here as possible, the better it is for everyone living here. It's so great to hear. Really amazing to know everything's well. We went to the Ronco ruins, which, our good friend Mid sent us off to. And I'm sad to report that it was not uneventful, but we were able to purge many of the undead from the area and find out some great information that even made Mid look up from his books. So hopefully that will come back with some good, helpful things for everyone. Until then, though, I thought it was best if we returned to helping out and really getting stuff done around here. Golem and Alexander both be praised.
So at that point, I think it's time to skip over to the board and read all of our missives off to the team.
All right. Well, you remember our first missive, the March of Mandy Jack. That is still open. It's still an open contract on the head of Mandy Jack, a large mandragora inside Gustaberg somewhere. The second quest, the first new quest, is entitled Paintbrush of Souls. Nida, in the city of Dalet, requests a small contingent to assist him in the dispelling of a powerful magic spell. Please keep this matter discreet. Cold weather attire is strongly recommended. And the third missive is entitled Loveless. And this one says, Cultural Epicenter in Jidoor requests professional defense specialists for opening night of our latest operatic production. And it is signed by it is signed by Impresario Lumont. or assistant impresario Lumont.
How about the opera?
Okay.
I'm open.
Well, I guess if the captain wants to go check out the opera, I guess maybe that's what we should do.
All
I
right.
don't see how this can go wrong.
Oh, now that you said that. Now I want to do this less. Now I want to do this a lot less. Take the missive over to Junie
Mm-hmm.
and be like, I guess we're going to help
Defend the opera.
defend the opera.
Alrighty. Well, this opera house is in the city of Jidoor. It's a pretty famous opera house, actually. It's the only one of its kind in this region of Skwrl. And it attracts a lot of the cultural elite. So if you tend to be rubbing some elbows and hobnobbing, tell them how useful the wild rose is to their benefits.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely make sure to do that.
Great. I mean, would you like to travel by train? Is there anything that we can do to assist you? This looks like a pretty standard defense contract. They haven't specified what it's for, but
I think we're gonna go by train.
I'm just going to look at her like, what? We have transportation.
Fine. We have our own transportation.
Smile while you say it.
oh goodness. All right. Well, if that's the case, then great. Let us know if we can be of any assistance to you. But this looks just like a pretty standard, run-of-the-mill defensive contract. You've done some of these before. You did one for a train before, so I imagine this is going to be something like that. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. And then with that, I'm going to look to Captain Montigue and to Gillian Guado and go, well, it's time to go.
Yes, it is. So I guess we're going back to the apartment. I'm going to climb up and get the boat off the apartment.
Yeah, it's a fairly easy manner for someone as acrobatic as Captain Montigue to scale up to the ceiling or the rooftop of his of your establishment and ready the airship from there, lowering it down to the ground level so the two of you can climb in.
Which is actually why I put it up there so nobody steals it.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea. It's a good idea. Nobody can mess with it up there either.
Yep.
Great. So you head into the airship and head southwards towards the city of Jidoor.
I'm actually going to make the ride a little extra bumpy for Keys dissing on my boat.
I believed I didn't diss on anything, but all right. I'm going to attempt to not get airsick.
Roll for not hurling? No, I'm just kidding.
I will. Hold on. No. Let's roll for not hurling.
You successfully fail to hurl. You fail to hurl. The flight is a fairly inconsequential matter, especially for Captain Montigue, who is a pretty easygoing pilot. One of the benefits of Skwrl is that the inner section, the big section of the continent, the sort of central section, where none of the towns really are, is a fairly flat affair, and that opens up a lot of opportunity for clear weather and long visibility and straight visibility. Not a whole lot of choppy winds, especially once you leave Gusterberg itself and head towards towards the Beyond Heights. Jidoor is a town probably about the size of Bastok. It is a coastal town and is home to a lot of fishermen. You can see a lot of fishing boats in the area, and it's got a fairly busy market district, similar to what you were seeing in Bastok. As you fly over the main street, you can see the townsfolk milling about the main streets of the big square, of the big market square. And one of the buildings that's easy to discern from a distance is quite clearly supposed to be this opera house. You can tell it is very distinct from the rest of the buildings in that it's been the architecture of it has been assembled in such a way that it looks a lot more unique. There's a lot more rounded corners, a lot more sloping edges. The craftsman who built this building took great care in doing so, and it's a big focal point for the center of the town. Jidoor has its own train station, and trains can come in not just from Bastok but also from Midgar and Onrak and places to the south from here, further south in Skwrl beyond the edge of Montigue's map. But it leads itself pretty well to traffic from all of these different places. Montague, you find a pretty worthwhile place to land this airship, I imagine. Is there anywhere specific or special where that you would like to park it, or is anywhere just fine?
Probably out of the way where somebody's not going to be touching.
Okay. Yeah, I think that if you were to park it somewhere on the east end of town, away from all of the fishing boats, nobody would confuse your vessel for a small fishing vessel, or potentially attempt to run off with it by pushing it into the sea. Your boat does float without the use of a sky stone, so that might.
Are we
not
sure
be
of
good.
that?
Well, it is assumed. I don't know if you've ever tried. Maybe you could tell me, but it is assumed that your boat could float.
50-50 chance. We'll probably have to roll the dice to be sure.
All right. But yeah, you find a nice, easy place to park it and make your way into the market. Push your way into the market square, as David Bowie once said. The opera house stands before you, and it is bustling with activity, both inside and sort of around the back. Things being loaded in. There are posters, promotional posters, that have been placed outside on a messaging board that is promoting the latest production. And the newest production is going to be, the first night of it is actually going to be tonight. The play is called Loveless, and it is an operatic rendition of the epic poem, which has been at some point turned into a play and now has been turned into an opera. I think it's about heroes chasing after the gifts of the goddess. It's like an epic poem, like Dante.
Okay.
But yeah, that information is all outside as you're standing outside this large building.
So, of course, my big priority is, after taking in everything and kind of really seeing what amazing is really going on, I think the first and foremost here is probably to go find the name on the missive. Of course, being discreet as possible in an area like this might be kind of important.
Sure.
But yeah, I'd like to poke about... Well, actually, there should be a clear and apparent... here, I guess I'm just going to go up to the box office and be like, I'd like to speak to... I already forgot the name of the missive.
Assistant Impresario Lumont.
I'm gonna need to speak to Imperative Assistant Lamont.
And they sort of chuckle at you, but they say, "1 moment, please," and head off into the opera house to go retrieve Lomont. Now, Lomont, as he comes out, is an Elvon male. He's younger than you might think he would be. He's probably would be equivalent to a Hume in his mid-20s. And he stands behind the window at the box office and says, "Yes, may I help you?"
Hi, we are from the Rose. We have come here. I'm going to show him the missive to attend to this.
Oh, thank you very much for coming at such short notice. We are very happy to have you. Please come inside. And he leaves the box office and ushers you into the front doors of the facility. And the inside of the facility is kind of a gaudy affair.
Yeah.
People have put some money into this. Whoever is in charge has put some money into this, but it's clearly supposed to cater to the more cultural elite than to just random plebs off the street.
Mm-hmm.
And Lomont says, "I really appreciate you coming out. We are looking for what I am looking for, a security force, a defense force, to ensure the first night's success of this production. I have not spoken to the head impresario about this, but I don't think that he would have a problem with me hiring security for the venture. We have had a couple of strange things happen with this. It all starts like this. Look, I spoke with my psychic last week, and she had said that there was going to be some problems with the show, and she said that there were going to be 3 problems. And first, our opera house's prima donna got sick unexpectedly, and so now we have our understudy who is somebody that we haven't worked with very long, is now taken over the lead role. And just a couple of days ago, the prop room or prop department, it got broken into by bandits in the night. Nothing appears to have been stolen, but it's still a good idea for us to have anybody on hand. And I'm worried because my psychic said there was going to be 3 problems, and I don't know what the 3rd problem is supposed to be, but nothing else has happened yet, so I assume that it must happen with this first show.
Right. No, and we're here for you. One thing I would love to do, first and foremost, is can we see your prima donna?
Oh, our sick prima donna? She's, she's at home sick, but yeah, I can see about sending you there. And
I would like to, if possible, while my associates look over the area and kind of work over with your staff, I'd really love to see your prima donna and just make sure she's okay and bring healing and protection to her and make sure there was no foul play.
I understand. Yeah, I imagine that could be okay. She's the sort of woman that would be, she's a little dramatic sometimes.
Of course.
But as a prima donna might be, it helps her performances. But I suppose if I were to send what is clearly a priestess of the Temple of Alexander, I think that would be just fine. Maybe there is something that you could do for her. So she scribbles an address for you and hands it to you and kind of gives you a directions on where that would be in town, in the residential district where a lot of the houses are.
So after receiving that, I'm going to thank him graciously. Thank you so much. And then give a bit of a turn to my associates and be like, you want to case the place while I look into this?
Yep. I'm going to have them lead me to the prop room that was broken into.
Okay.
Yeah. Who breaks into something and doesn't steal anything? Gillian, if you just want to look really important or maybe talk to some peoples.
Or just look really, really big and talk.
Yeah. look like maybe this is not a place to screw with. So we're splitting the party on you.
All right. That's fine. In the auditorium, there's the stage and seating that goes up, and there's also a mezzanine section. And then behind the stage, there is it has a kind of it has a scrim which blocks the view from between the front of house and the back of house. And then behind it directly is a kind of a wide open area that's a staging area for a lot of the set pieces. And right now, because there's a couple of different set changes in Loveless, there are kind of facades that have been built out, just little wooden with paint to represent various locales for the show. There is an area off to, if you're on the stage, downstage, looking backwards, if you're going to your left, which I guess would be stage right, behind the stage, is a big double doors, and that has those open up into the prop room itself. The prop room is those double doors are also guarded mostly by kind of like a wire cage, and it's usually the Lumont says usually when this place is locked, it is it's completely inaccessible. These double doors, they have like a bar that goes over top of them that you need a key to undo and unlatch and then lift the bar up. And they just bypass the door entirely, and you can see here with the cage that is blocking it, they just cut open this caged section and were able to sort of wiggle their way through, apparently. Didn't even bother with the door, just broke through the wall. And as you're going through the prop room, there's not really a whole lot of anything of value in here. It's a lot of, there's regular basic tools, anything that you might use in a set department, but there isn't really anything that's like a lot of money. This isn't where you would keep a lot of money, and so it's there's nothing really striking you immediately as to anything of a huge amount of value. But it's a pretty big room, a pretty open warehouse kind of room.
I'm gonna start just kind of looking at the damage that they did trying to break where they broke into the.
Okay.
How tall is it? It was about Selkie high or taller?
Well, it's a little bit taller, and it's been done a little wide. So if you feel like if somebody even Gillian's size were to crouch down and crawl through, that it could be feasible for somebody her size to do it too.
That's a lot of effort to not do anything.
Are you sure
You're sure
nothing?
nothing's missing?
Well, our prop master did a fairly involved inventory of the place. He said that nothing really of any value was taken. There were a couple of I guess if we can look here, and he goes in and grabs a clipboard from an area in the back and pulls it out and says there was a couple of lengths of hemp rope that were taken, like a couple of 50-foot hemp ropes that were taken. There was a box with a sort of a faux kind of like a faux rock. I think we were using it for a production where it was supposed to be a kind of a jewel or a gemstone, but it was it's like quartz. It wasn't really worth anything. There was a couple of backpacks and a hook. We had like a big metal hook that we used as a anchor for one of our seafaring shows. But that's about it. There wasn't any. I mean, they took maybe, 40 gold pieces worth of things, 50 gold pieces worth of things. I mean,
It sounds like they were building something.
I hadn't thought of that.
I'm going to start looking up at the rafters and whatnot.
Yeah.
See if there's anything that looks odd.
Well, why don't you give me a perception roll? Ooh.
I am not perceiving anything.
Well, I think to, if nothing else, just to save some face for you here, Montague, I think that it would be an inconsequential affair for you to acrobatics your way up into the rafters of this prop room. So maybe you can describe what that looks like for us.
Let's see. I'm probably gonna, find a nice heavy sandbag that's hanging off the roof. Just kind of look up, make sure I'm not gonna hit anything. Take the sword and whoop, fly up and somersault into the rafters.
That is excellent. Yeah, so you with great style and panache make your way up into the rafters of this place. It's pretty. There's a catwalk up here that leads out to above the top of the stage. They don't have a counterweight system here, so it's mostly just catwalks up through. There's ladders in different places around, but anywhere that they're hanging any kind of a light fixture or anything up here, they use this area for. And it's a little unsteady, and I think that's why you're not getting a great viewpoint. Is that you're having to concentrate most of your effort on not falling off of this thing. But I think with a roll of 6, you're not really going to get a whole lot of additional vantage from up here. There are catwalks above the stage as well, but you don't happen to see anything out of place.
After I try to explore as much of the catwalk as I can, I'm going to come back down like, didn't see anything.
Lumont is talking to Gillian Guado when you get your way down, and I mean, my psychic has never been wrong before, and she just, she's really reliable, and I know something bad is going to happen.
Completely understand.
Mm-hmm.
Very understand.
So what else has your psychic predicted?
Oh, she's so great. She told me that somebody in my family had died just recently. She just knew, right? She said that it was a letter N, and that was totally my grandmother, and that she had died, and so she knew that. And then she went with some tea leaves, and she was reading through the tea leaves, and she said that I was going to get, I was going to do a really good job here, and so I worked really hard, and I got this promotion to assistant impresario, and she's really great. I can give you her card if you'd like.
Please.
So he runs in and grabs a card for you, and the card is for a shop here in town. It's for it is a place called Matoya's Crystal Ball, and on the card it is promoting tea leaf reading, fortune telling, and medicinal herbs.
Thank you, my good man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tuck it into my vest pocket.
Mm-hmm. So you guys have that. Is there anything else that you would like to do?
Not at this time. At least not me. Gillian?
I'm mostly just trying to look intimidating without actually intimidating the people that are supposed to be here.
Yeah, I mean, everybody that's here is supposed to be here. You get the impression. They haven't opened the place up to the public, although tonight is going to be the performance. So eventually they'll open the house, and the real showtime is going to be then once the people start coming in. Now, Key Mihgo, you make your way into the residential district and have reached the address of the prima donna of the opera house. Her name is Celestina, as it is written on your note that has been given to you by Lamont. So you stand at the front door of it's a single residential district. That's a single residential location. That's pretty impressive as far as a town this size is.
So, of course, after checking for bells or ringer or whatnot, I'll pick the most appropriate way to summon at the door.
Oh, sure. So you can. There is a bell that you can ring from the outside, a little pulley, and the door is answered by a nursemaid who is there in albed, and she is dressed in sort of the pauper's kind of nurse outfit, and says, "May I help you?" Oh, you're a priestess of Alexandria. Please, you must be here to see the prima donna. Please, come inside.
And of course, I will allow myself to be ushered in and bow politely.
Were you sent by the temple?
I was actually sent by the opera house to look into her and offer some healing and protection and hope that she can recover as soon as possible.
Oh, we are so happy to have you here. The prima donna has been very ill. We don't know what the problem is. She was fine last week, and when she woke up, I thought maybe it was something that she had eaten, but she's still sick even to today. From the other room, you hear a moan from a woman saying, "Nadala, please bring me my medicine again. I would like some more medicine, please."
I'm going to bow to Nadala, of course, and let her do what she has to tend to. And at this point, I will enter, knock gently, and excuse me, prima donna. I'm from the Temple of Alexander. I'm here to see you and tend to you.
Oh, it's so lovely to have you, darling. I feel I feel just awful. I've been awful for a while now. Oh, I'm very sorry. I'm not normally like this. Nadala, please, the medicine, please. And Nadala enters in with a tincture that she's brought in and is feeding that to Celestina.
Now, what I would like to do, as Nadala is bringing in this tincture, is I would like to be the most curious of kitties. And I would like to nose in on this tincture a little bit.
Okay.
Get a good sniff of it. That's assisted 20.
That's assisted with 20. Yeah, well, you have some history with pharmaceuticals, clearly.
A lot of time studying those in school.
Yeah, so you do know a little bit about it, and this doesn't appear to be any kind of medicine that you've ever seen or smelt before. You're still at a bit of a distance, but you, I think, would have good reason to be questionable from here.
So you said that she's an albed, right?
She is an albed, that's correct.
So I'm going to say, prima donna, forgive me. And in albed, I'd like to talk to the nurse.
Okay.
Assuming the prima
Okay.
donna probably doesn't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And in albed, I'd like to ask her exactly what she's feeding.
Okay, so what do you say to her in albed? I mean, you don't have to speak albed, but say something to
I'm not going to ask this in albed.
No.
But I'd like to understand exactly what this tincture is.
Well, yeah, but how do you phrase? Oh, that's how you phrase it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm gonna be a little direct with her since we're speaking outside of the prima donna's language.
She's a little surprised that you have that you know how to speak Elbed, but she responds, "It's a family recipe."
Can you tell me more about this family recipe? I'd really love to know it.
Well, it is some herbs and poultices that are gathered in the Albed home district. Something that we've used for a long time that treats the stomach.
I'm going to cock an eyebrow so high at her, and I'm going to ask the question a second time.
So you ask the question a second time. Celestina interrupts this conversation and says, "Oh, the language of the plebeians. Please, please, not in my presence. I can't bear to listen to this dirt language any longer. Well, can't you see that I am in pain enough already?"
I'm gonna again apologize to the prima donna.
As she's making a scene, Nadala is going to briskly make her way out of the room.
I'm gonna give her kitty eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna go to the prima donna, and I'm going to pray, and I'm actually going to use prayer.
Okay.
My ability of prayer.
Yeah. You lay over Celestina, and you offer your prayer to Alexander, and it radiates out this healing wind, this healing light from your presence. As Celestina says, My young lady, that makes me feel quite a bit better than I was just a moment ago. I feel rather reinvigorated from that. I wonder if I can stand up. And she attempts to get up.
I will of course take her hand and help her if she chooses.
Yeah. She's gonna use she's gonna use you essentially as a tool here, to stand up. But she's able to
just don't grab the tail.
She's able to stand up and sort of right herself and get onto her 2 feet. She says, "I haven't been upright in several days. Why, you've done such a great thing for me here. Thank you so much, young lady."
Alexander be praised. I'm so glad that you are feeling so much better. When you said you've not been upright for several days, when did this horrible spell overtake you?
Oh, it happened at the opera house. I was running a rehearsal, and the new assistant impresario was not catering to my needs in the way that an actress like my caliber needs to have happen. You understand, I can't perform at my peak level without the proper accoutrements in my dressing room, on stage. I mean, some of the stagehands were just milling about randomly during the production, the rehearsal. I couldn't concentrate and stay in character. Why, it was a nightmare, if you ask me, a pure and simple nightmare. But I came home that day, and I already by the time I had gotten home, I already had some sort of a terrible pain in my stomach, and my food was coming back up. It was really, really terrible, and it's been like that for days now.
I recommend that you stick to the blessings of Alexander and avoid anything questionable. Avoid your tinctures for a little while. Try to remain holistic and holy within the light. I'm trying to play this angle a little bit.
Sure.
And let this blessing truly flow through and purify you in its time. If I may wonder, you mentioned that the assistant was unable to really cater to your needs, which is a problem. What did they serve that day?
Oh, well, I usually have my own plate that is brought into my dressing room. It's delivered with the fresh flowers, of course. My food consisted of some fish that was caught. That's usually what we have in this town. We have a lot of fish in this town. It didn't seem any stranger than normal, but perhaps it was just a bad bit of fish, I imagine.
Yes, that's very unfortunate.
Surely someone like you knows what it's like to have bad fish.
Of course.
Wow.
Of course, prima donna. So after speaking with her and finding their health, I am going to leave her to rest and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I would like to skulk about the home.
The home, okay. Well, it is a one-story bedroom. One-story location. You were in the bedroom is where she was sick. There is also a main room with a kitchen that runs off to the side. And this room is large enough for some amount of entertainment.
What I'm trying to sniff out is where the keep keeps their herbs.
Ah, I see. You end up finding it in the kitchen. And the medicines that were in there, many of them are missing. All that's left is just maybe a couple of simple pain medications. But there's clearly, it's a cabinet that should be more full than it actually is. And Nadala has also disappeared from the establishment.
And Nadala, I can't find Nadala anywhere.
No, madam.
So, of all my searching, I find no medicine except for an empty medicine cabinet and no Nadala.
That would be correct.
If I may bother the prima donna once again.
Okay.
Okay. And I was just, knocking politely. Prima donna, I'm sorry to bother you so much. I was looking into your medicines a little bit, as I do, just to help as a service from the temple. I noticed your medicine your medicine and herbs is cleared almost quite out, and I can't find your help anywhere. How has Nadala been working for you?
That's very strange. She's been by my side all week long. She was sent from the opera house, she said. I don't know where she might be.
That's weird. Then why did the opera house send me? I'm used to myself. I'm sorry to trouble you with these things. I'm sorry she's missing, and so is your herbs. I really grant the blessings of Alexander to you, and I hope your most speedy of recoveries. Be very well. Be careful. Care for your health. Alexander be praised.
Well, thank you, young lady. I believe I'm going to lie down. I don't think I'm going to make opening night, but perhaps tomorrow I will have the strength of voice to come back and sing.
I know the opera house is beyond themselves waiting for your grand return. And then I will, of course, excuse myself from the home, walking my way out. And I'm going to give a little bit of a perception.
Okay.
I'd like to eye about and see if Natalia is skulking around the area.
I think for something like that, instead of perception, could you give me a survival roll? We're going to associate this with tracking.
Oh, okay.
There isn't a whole lot going on in the street, but wherever Nadala may have gone, it's tough to say. You would assume that she would have gone haste. If she left in haste, as you're assuming, if what you're assuming is true, she probably would make her way to some place like the markets where there is a lot of people a lot of crowds to get lost in. But yeah, I think you've taken enough time with Celestina that she's gone by now.
Okay. All right. Just I figured it was a long shot, but I just want to make sure she wasn't skulking around.
Sure.
In order to return the moment I left. That would have been unfortunate. All right. If that is true, then I know what I need to know, and I would like to make the utmost haste to make it back to the Opera House before opening, if I can.
A small line of people has begun to form outside the front doors. They have not yet opened the house, but early arrivers, people who assumedly don't have their season pass, are there attempting to get decent seats. Usually the season ticket holders have their seats already pre-prepared. And there is a small crowd of well-dressed, well-to-do people of varying races outside the front of this establishment. And as you make your way in, you catch up with the team.
So I'm going right up to the team, and I was like, so, sabotage.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking too. And I'm gonna pull out the card, and I think we have the ringleader too.
Do you really think it's the psychic? Like I can read, I can smell these sort of quasi-magical frauds.
And I'm gonna be like, but I have her name.
I'm gonna nod to him and be like, so there was an Albed, Nadia, who was sent by the Opera House to tend to her, feeding her something noxious to keep her out of commission. I was able to offer her healings and blessings, but she still, of course, will not be ready to perform tonight, not after having so much poison upon her. So someone is trying to orchestrate this. I would like to verify my theory if we can get a hold of the pointy ear.
The Elvon? Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, your pointy ears.
What does anyone know where Lamont is?
Oh yeah. Oh, he's preparing for the show. He's milling he's on stage, backstage. He's back and forth.
So I do go to catch him real quick, and walking with him, power walking along with him. I'm like, did you send someone to the prima donna's house in Albed to feed her tinctures?
To feed her tinctures? No, I didn't send anybody to her house. She had food poisoning.
Right. No. I just want to double check. Sometimes people do stuff like that. I just wanted to.
I sent you.
Yeah, no, you did, and that's actually that's the test. All right, you have a great opening to your show. We are going to take care of everything, and then I'm going to scurry away and let him just be like, "Oh, crazy cat lady." And so then, of course, going back to the team, sabotage.
So if that's the case, and we are moving on to the tactical thing,
wait,
okay.
Before we do that,
Okay.
I have questions for Captain Montigue.
Yes.
What sabotage do you see?
The things that were stolen look like some kind of rigging.
Rigging? Like
Ropes and hooks.
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh. Not like boat rigging, like Okay.
Then I actually start pointing up at the rigging. And
Is there any rigging up? Were you able to get up there and verify there was no?
I'm just gonna kind of look at her like, you know who I am. You know I was up there.
Right. Did you check and make sure no one sabotaged the set?
I looked. I could not find anything.
I'm going to tell
I'm not 100% confident, but I didn't find anything.
I'm going to look at Gillian Guado and be like, did you intimidate anyone? Did you get a read on any shady characters?
Everyone's acting like they're supposed to be here, and it's opening night. It's hectic. I mean, no one looks out of place, but
I think one of us should be up in the catwalk just in case, and probably the most mobile of us.
Right. But I don't want to go up there, so you.
I'm just gonna be like, what? What? Yes, son of me.
I would like to use my detection of evil to help detect any evil intent, at least in the area.
Well,
You're in an opera house. There's evil.
yeah, I mean that is kind of the response. So there isn't anything really overwhelming coming from inside the building, but most of the people anybody who's in here right now is mostly just stagehands, tech people. Not even the prime actors are not even here yet. The chorus is maybe some of the chorus has shown up and they're milling about, sort of rehearsing in practice, but none. You don't even have actors in right now.
Okay.
And then
I just want to make sure that there wasn't a malicious actor like haunting us right now.
no, I mean right now it's just stagehands, but there's nobody amongst the stagehands that you get the impression is any kind of malice.
Okay, so then at that point, I'm going to panic and scream and run around in circles. No, that's not actually what's going to happen.
Uh-huh.
Instead, I'm going to look to Gillian Guado and I'm going to be like, do you think we have time to visit this psychic ringleader and have a word with her? And I probably don't use that gesture. I probably use like some in the equivalent gesture to kind of like articulate intimidation.
well, we can, or I can. Well, you schmooze here and make sure that. Look, I don't see a reason to get the prima donna knocked off, unless, of course, you're putting someone else in a place on purpose who needs to show up for opening night sometime between now and curtain. Maybe we shouldn't all wander off?
Good point. Good point. All right. Then I will poke around and see who I can see.
Okay. Your detect evil spell is still up, and as a sort of funny aside, as you move out into the auditorium and start to sense the people standing in front of the in the line in front of the building, you're getting more pings from out there. But it should be noted that the people who are amongst those are the cultural elite. They are politicians, they are tax collectors, they are
people with very questionable morals.
Yeah, the rich and powerful are the kinds of people who come to this event. So it may be a little difficult to detect some evil amongst that kind of crowd.
I understand. I'm mostly trying to focus my ability into what's going on inside the opera house. Basically, anyone who walks by me carries some evil intent. I'm going to try to stick my nose in things and see if anyone has heard rumors about the illness of the prima donna and who this new actress is. And have you heard? But I'm just trying to see if anyone gives me anything that's going to be useful.
Well, most of the people that you are speaking with are upset to hear that the prima donna is going to be substituted out for the debut performance of this new feature. She is a bit of a mainstay here in this town, and people who come to these kinds of shows have become accustomed to seeing her and are a little disappointed. But I'm curious as to Gillian and Montague. What are you up to while Key is just lightly gossiping with the fellows at the front?
Do we have time to make it to the Martella's crystal ball?
Matoya's crystal ball. I think that if you
back.
Yeah, I think, it depends on how long-winded she is, but if you left and came back, you would probably be in time for curtain, you think?
I was going to go up during the show, because that's probably when something's going to happen.
Yes, but we need you up there before it happens.
It's not an unsound argument, actually.
Yeah, we need you up there before something goes wrong, not after. I don't want you up there after it goes wrong.
All right.
It's going wrong. Like, we'd really like to preempt.
I'm going to hand Gillian the card and then go up. And I'm going to take a sandbag up.
All right. Well, in that case, Gillian, let's head to Matoya's crystal ball. So this building is in the Markets district, but it is at the far end of the Markets district. If there was an area just beyond the Markets district, just barely outside of town, this place would probably qualify as that. It is a little bit of a swampy kind of area, a little bit of a muggy, kind of a marshy kind of area. You're out of the desert of Gustaberg after all. Not well kept, but there is a sign out in the front that says Matoya's Crystal Ball, fortune telling and herbs. There are vines creeping all over the place, and it's a house of general disrepair. But you do find it, and you're able to go to the front door.
Well, I'm going to head in with confidence. I'm not going to say gusto, but I'm going to say I'm supposed to be here. I know what I want, and I'm going to...
Sure. So you enter the door with some swagger, and there is a sitting there. It's just a sort of a studio apartment style structure. One sort of open room. There's a bed over in the corner and a desk for you all to sit at for her to do her palm readings or tarot cards or what have you. And there is an old woman, a ragged old Hume woman, probably age of in her 70s to 80s, you would think. And she is sitting with a crystal, holding it and just gazing into it, and says, but she looks up at the sound of someone walking in and says, "Who is it? Is this a customer?"
Something like a customer.
Oh, good. I love when customers come in to have us. Please have a seat. I will be right with you. This woman grabs a walking stick. She's got her crystal ball in one hand, and she's using a walking stick to get up, and is moving slowly towards the table in the front room, the sort of general area. She has a seat in the back end of the table, and if you are seated towards her, facing her, it is clear that this woman is blind. You can see it in her eyes. She is most definitely without sight. Oh yeah, and nothing. So, what brings you here? Would you like your fortune read? Would you care to hear something speak to beyond the grave?
Well, I do have a bit of a question about a fortune and some herbs I noticed from the card I received.
Ah, yes, we have all kinds of healing poultices and potions in my laboratory. I've been making potions for many years. Of course, if you would like your fortune read, or if you would like to purchase any of the potions, it will be a small fee so that I can continue on doing this, you know.
Of course. Someone I know recently came very ill of food poisoning, and I'm pretty sure that they were probably trying to get treated. Was it possibly from you that they were getting their treatment?
Oh, I had not given out treatment for food poisoning.
I was sure that they said it was a local, and you're who came up. This seems quite weird. Have you done any business that might be similar to that, maybe? Maybe I misunderstood.
I have received some business recently. It's just some people around the town who have come to see me. I get a lot of repeat business out here, you know. The people who love to have their fortunes told. I do remember selling to someone recently who was a voice I did not recognize, but they were not looking for a potion to heal themselves. They were looking for something to kill weeds and bugs in their area.
I see. This individual specifically, I must have misunderstood. By chance, is there an antidote to that sort of poison? Maybe they wanted me to come get an antidote to that because they accidentally consumed it.
Oh, you don't want to consume that. I do, of course, have antidotes for all kinds of poisons. I imagine I could sell you one for the low cost of about 30 gold pieces.
30 gold pieces, you said?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds thrilling. They unfortunately did not compensate me for this, so I'm afraid I'll have to come back for that one. How much is a palm reading? I mean, since I'm here.
Oh, yes, I would be happy to read your palm. Let's see. A normal palm reading is just 5 gold pieces, of course. If you would like anything more substantial than that, it would be a little more, but palm should be simple.
I'm going to offer my Guado-sized palm.
Yes.
And pull out 5 gold pieces to place on the counter.
So she's surprised by the size of the Guado palm. The Guado palm is, if for those of you playing at home, if you've not seen a Guado, their hands are probably twice as long as the human hand. They've got quite long, grippy fingers. She says, "Oh my, you have a very large hand." And what she's doing is she's feeling your palm. She doesn't have the ability to see, and so she's reading the lines in your palm with her fingertips as she's going through. She says, "Oh, there's a long history here. I'm seeing some life and some happiness. I don't really love your wealth line, but you'll do all right for yourself, young lady. Don't you worry about that. Perhaps just a life of comfortability, a life of and as she's reciting this, you are looking at her, and her eyes are they're white, and you know how they'll be white, and then the pupils will be completely white and completely covered on someone who is blind potentially. She's got one of those kinds of things going on. Suddenly, as she's doing this and giving you this palm reading, her eyes turn entirely black all the way through. And she was speaking with a meek voice, and suddenly is now speaking with a much more stern and forceful voice with some gravitas. And she says, "The Tonberry King is upset with you. The Tonberry King knows of you. He is still out to find you. You are the guardians of something much too important. He is looking for it. He is coming for it." And her eyes go back into the white, and she says, "But the wealth will come, young lady. Don't worry. I'm seeing someone with a letter G. Do you know a letter G?"
Yes.
"This letter G is looking for you. You will find him, but not today or tomorrow. In the future sometime. That's all I'm getting."
Thank you. Truly, thank you. A small warning. The one that you sold the pesticide to, I'm concerned about their intent. You should avoid them.
Oh. Well, I will keep that in mind, young lady. I don't want to hurt anybody.
Thank you. I'm going to take my leave quite swiftly.
And with that, Gillian makes her way back to the Opera House. The doors have been opened and the general public is being let in. The principals have all made their way backstage and are warming up their voices. And next week on Final Fantasy Crystal Legend, we will discover what is going on with the opera Loveless for this debut performance. So thank you very much for joining us at home. We are glad to have you on this adventure, and we thank you, as usual, for coming with us. Please continue to join us as we get better and better with this every week, and try to improve the game in ways that you will be as pleased as possible. So until next time, my name is Neil, and on behalf of Mihgo and Half-Guado and Captain Montigue, we wish you all good, happy health, and urge you to be good to one another.